back, everyone, to the A.D.D show, where we're not always right, but we're never wrong. And I'm Marc.
And I'm Hans. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about Week 5, our upset of the week, our locks of the week, and we're going to go ahead and start the show off in a few with our quarter of the season surprises, like how things have been so far. We're going to have no special guest this week, but once again, next week we'll have somebody with us. In NBA news, the Lakers lead the Heat 3-1 with Game 4 happening tonight. Lakers will be wearing their black Mamba jerseys on the same game that they could win it all. Notable college football games this weekend. We have number 4 Florida traveling to number 21 Texas A&M, 19 Virginia Tech, and number 8 North Carolina, Mizzou at number 17 LSU, number 22 Texas at the surprisingly unranked Oklahoma Sooners, number 14 Tennessee at number 3 Georgia, Arkansas at 13 Auburn, and the big night game will be number 7 Miami and number 1 Clemson. Tonight for the Thursday night football game, we have a battle of the 3-1 Buccaneers, led by a team who knows who their starting quarterback is, and the 3-1 Bears, who still don't quite know their starting quarterback yet. So with that, how are you doing today, Marc?
I'm good. I got a question for you.
What's up?
If the Lakers win tonight, what's the over-under on LeBron going, Kobe, this is for you?
Over-under, 100%.
Right.
He may not do it, but I pray that he does that. I would love to see it.
That would be.
I would love to see it.
I've been thinking that every single second that the Lakers made the finals, I've been thinking LeBron is going to do something like that.
I really hope he does. I know everybody has their differing opinions on like LeBron in general, but to win a title with the Lakers in the same year of Kobe passing away, this is incredible. I've read this morning that a lot of people think that like it was meant to be, it was meant to this, they planned it this way. I watched some of the NBA playoffs. I don't see how people planned this to happen.
Oh, no.
The Lakers are just the best team in the NBA right now, and the Golden State Warriors are injured. But if they were, again, that would be a different team. The Lakers are just better than everybody because they have the best player in the game and the best center in the game, and it helps. It helps a lot. So I'm going to be excited to watch that tonight. Probably won't watch, no offense to Thursday Night Football. I think I'm going to watch the Lakers tonight. I might flip between both, but at least the fourth quarter.
But then we're going to get into the quarter seasons are already done. Can't believe it. Already 4 weeks done. But last week we had Brandon on. Brandon went 10-5 last week, 2-0 he got both his lock and his upset. You were 10-5. You went 1-1. I was 9-6, and I went 0-2. Damn Cardinals.
Why did you pick the Cardinals lock of the week?
Because you guys picked the Ravens, and I didn't want to copy. So
you should
I was
have.
Stupid. Yes, I know.
I'm looking at the board over there on the wall, and you're still getting clapped by me in every week, Marc.
Yes.
You need to get on this.
I understand. Now, 2 things I do want to say. Couple things that we stated in the first week that we did. We talked about Drew Lock. I said Drew Lock was a bust. You said he's not a bust. Quarter of the way through the season, the man's a bust. He's not even going to get his starting position back. If I was to bet, I would say Rippon will stay the starting quarterback even when Drew Lock is healthy, unless they are just out of it and they need to see more out of Lock.
Again, I was big on Lock. Excuse me. I don't think anybody should be considered a bust because of an injury. Again, that's why I don't consider Wentz a bust.
He was pretty bad.
I know, but his numbers were clearly still better than Rippon's one game against the worst team in the league. He threw 3 interceptions and had a fumble. Yes. I still trust Locke more. I think they do too. If Locke's healthy, ready to come back, they'll probably keep Locke in for the rest of the year, unless they're tanking for one of these 5 or 6 really good quarterbacks in college right now.
Yep.
But I don't want to call Drew Lock a bust when his last season last year was better than Darnold, was better than Wentz, was better than a lot of quarterbacks. He had a really good year. Okay. I don't want to jump there yet. That doesn't mean I just don't see Rippon as a better quarterback.
Okay. All right. Now, and then we also talked about Herbert. Mm-hmm. Man, that boy spent good money on paying that doctor to stick the needle where it didn't belong. He's played well. He's played really well. I don't think you had stated that he's the best rookie quarterback this year. He's not playing better than Burrow by far. He's not.
They're pretty close if you take their 2 best games. Because remember, Burrow's played 2 more games. 1 more game than he has. So Burrow's played 4. Herbert's played 3. If you take their best 3 games, so I think that was the last 3 games for Herbert and Burrow. I think Burrow's first game against the Chargers was his worst game. You take those 3, they're not far off. Burrow has a lot more pass attempts and has a little bit better accuracy, but again, I'm not saying he's better. I could see it. Right now, eye test, they're both really good rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And people were expecting Burrow to be the only one this year, and Herbert's jumped in and said, I'm doing pretty well. I mean, again, he took the Chiefs toe-to-toe.
Yeah.
But right now, Burrow's still clearly the better quarterback, but
Yeah.
we'll see what each record shows at the end of the year.
Yeah. So on that, when I brought up Herbert also because I said Tua was going to have better numbers this year than Herbert, I stated that thinking they were going to play close to the same amount of games. It's not going to be close to the same amount of games. If Herbert continues doing what he's doing, he's that starter there. Tyrod Taylor was just there for a game. Sort of like with the Browns. Tyrod Taylor was there for a game.
I'm pretty sure when we had started this, we talked about over under 10 games for all the rookie quarterbacks, like Herbert, Tua. We all talked about if they all had like 10 games, or maybe it was 8 games. So Tua might still come in at some point, but I do believe the Dolphins are on garbage time, even if Tua comes in. I think the actual Chargers, and this may sound dumb, just like the Bengals, I think the Chargers and the Bengals are actually trying to not have a top 5 pick. I think they are trying to win.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike if Tua was to come in, I don't think they're trying to win.
Both teams, well, not the Chargers as much as the Bengals, but the Bengals need a winning culture. Bengals aren't trying for draft picks anymore.
No.
They've done enough. The Bengals have to learn how to win and learn how to win consistently. And they're on the road. They're on the road there. I think anybody that watches football can see that Burrow is going to be a really good quarterback.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt in my mind he's not going to be a good quarterback.
Their offense is set up to the point for it's set up for him. So I see big things for the Bengals. If they can get the defense even somewhat sort of figured out, this team is going to be dangerous.
Somewhat sort of figured out defense would make a lot of sense for a lot of teams, Mark.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little bit. So like I said, with the Bengals, their defense is bad. So when your rookie gets on the field, you're expecting him to play like a 5-year veteran. The problem is they're putting in Burrow in situations that make him look a little worse than he is because the defense can't stop a high school team.
Right.
Believe me, I have a quarterback who's 5 years in who has to shoulder the whole team. Burrow shouldn't have to do that. No quarterback should have to shoulder their atrocious defense, and then at the end of the year, Burrow's got 15 interceptions. Like, well, look at Burrow. Well, every one of them is in fourth quarter crunch time. Like, you have to. The defense has to give a little bit of help, a little bit. And I think the Bengals are like 28th in defense. You can't do that.
No,
you can't do that.
They made a step last week. This is a big test for them this week. We're going to get into our picks in a little bit, but this is a big test for them. Baltimore, they always play Baltimore tough. They always have, but Baltimore kicked their butt last year. And Lamar Jackson was unstoppable. And every move they made defensively this year in the offseason was to stop Lamar. Not to do anything else, but to have speed on defense to stop Lamar. Is it enough? No. I'm going to say that right off the bat. They're not in the league of Baltimore right now, I feel.
I want to add something to what you just said because you actually said something I liked there. For me, when I watch the Bengals-Ravens game, I'm going to be watching Joe Burrow mainly. And I want to look at the word mechanics, okay? I know friends have talked about this, and we're going to talk you guys don't know this yet, but we're going to have an episode. We're going to talk a little bit about the DC football team later on. But this reminds me a lot of like with Haskins, right? I'm not comparing Burrow and Haskins. What I'm saying is even in Washington's losses, you want to watch their quarterback. How does he play? Mm-hmm. How does he hold his head? How are the mechanics, the passing mechanics, okay? Burrow, even in a loss, let's say they get blown out by the Ravens, how does he keep his team together? Does he still throw short passes? Does he go, guys, you know we're going to lose. I'm just going to play the best game I can. Don't make Burrow throw at 80 yards. Don't make him have 500 yards passing. Just get your rookie comfortable. Even in a 30-point lead, let's say they're losing by 30, just make him comfortable. Whereas like when it comes with Haskins, it feels like they're trying to force him to try to make a comeback, but you don't have, again, the weapons, so the mechanics aren't the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Burrow shouldn't go out and try to win this game if they're losing by a lot. Just play good, get the learning curve going.
Yes.
Same thing with Haskins. He's still got a learning curve to get over.
I disagree with you with Haskins on the simple fact that I think the coaches are trying to get him out of his head. I think the coaches are just going out there and saying, you know what? We went for it on 4th down and goal from the 13-yard line. We told you to throw it into the end zone. Just throw it in the end zone. And what does the man do? He throws a 4-yard out. Gave the guy no chance. He needs to get out of his head. He needs to understand you need to take chances.
And you've watched enough football to know this, and same thing with basketball or any sport. When you're in your head, what's the best thing to do?
Sit down.
I wasn't going to say sit down, but what I usually said is like when I played football or when I wrestled or any sport, my coach said, if you lost, which we've lost in football before, he would sit me down and say, okay, so at your position, in the running back position, when I played, he said, you had all these plays, and I even wore a little thing like the quarterback did, and had all the plays too. He said, you're playing bad out there. I was like, what do I need to do? He's like, you need to cut that playbook in a fourth. You need to simplify your game and start back from the ground up. I think there's a good ceiling out there for Haskins. Like I said, I think there's a potential for him to be a decent quarterback in the league. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, maybe just taking 2 steps back. He is younger, simplifying the playbook, shortening little slant routes, getting him comfortable, letting him play a little bit, maybe giving him the reins saying, how do you want to play, Haskins? Like, do you want to run a little bit? Do you want to do this? Instead of maybe putting in Alex Smith, I understand why they're doing that. And we're going to talk about
Kyle
that.
Allen.
I mean, Kyle Allen, sorry. It's because the division's so bad. They have a chance, right? Yeah. I still think Haskins is the best, but like you just said, instead of benching him, in my opinion, I would say just shorten the playbook and say, how do we make you comfortable, Haskins? What makes you comfortable behind this terrible O-line? Yeah. What do you need to do?
Yeah, we're going to get more into this in another episode with Nate. Nate was chomping at the bit to come on and talk, and I have a lot to say about Haskins.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to save that for later. It's a very good conversation. But let's get into 4-0 teams or undefeated teams, because not all of them are 4-0 because the Titans are idiots. Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and the Chiefs in the AFC. Green Bay and Seattle in the NFC.
Okay.
Buffalo and the Chiefs are for real.
Mm-hmm.
I think Buffalo is for real. I think Allen has taken the next step in his progression. I'm not going to call him elite, but he is getting there. And he is proving a lot of haters wrong.
Yeah, I definitely have him. He's moved into my top 7, top 10 in the league. And that's not disrespect, but I'm saying he's up there. He's up there in quarterbacks I want to watch every week.
Saying somebody's in the top 10 in their profession is never an insult, in my opinion.
No.
It's not. Chiefs, by far, you can't... They had a down game 2 games this year, and not a single time did I think they were going to lose the game. Mm-hmm. If Cam played on Monday night, I think the Chiefs would have lost. I honestly do. Belichick has his number. Belichick knows how to get in his head a little bit where most coaches don't. And I'm going to say coaches. It has nothing to do... The players just do their job for the Patriots, which always happens. And we'll get into that later too, possibly, because the Patriots are 2-2, and I still think they're in that next tier below Buffalo and Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely believe that the Patriots can make a playoff run. I mean, they could be the 6th, 7th seed as a wild card. I don't see them touching the Bills. I understand that Belichick's always had the Bills number, but this is a different Bills team, and the Patriots team isn't quite the same.
I like even if he has the Bills number, the Bills will could go 14-2 and lose both games to the Patriots, but still win the division.
Yeah, I think the Bills will make it far. I think next year is going to be even better year for the Bills than this year even is. Yep. They don't really have a lot of expensive contracts. They're still young. Even if they don't win it all, the Chiefs are still really good. The Bills will be competing. Yes. I could see the Bills in the AFC Championship possibly next year. They could squeak in this year. Yep. It's still the Chiefs division. You're going to have to go through Patrick, and that's really hard to do.
Yeah. Green Bay and Seattle.
I'm really not surprised by either one of these, to be honest with you.
I'm surprised by Seattle because Seattle's defense is not very good. I'm not going to call them bad, but they're not very good. Their offense is just really good. Mm-hmm. And then you have 4 0-4 teams: Atlanta, Giants, Houston, and the Jets. One of those teams already fired their coach. You can't get into a fight with the face of your franchise and think you're going to live and coach another day for that team. And Bill O'Brien, he went too far. You don't fight with J.J. Watt and think you're going to survive in that franchise.
Yeah, I think we talked about this. There are 2 coaches that should never coach again. And Bill O'Brien was one of them we talked about shouldn't be coaching again. And Adam Gase is on his way soon with the Jets. Yes, both of them have had multiple chances with multiple areas, and nobody's gotten it done.
Bill O'Brien did well with the Texans. He did well with the Texans. This year, he crossed the line. He got too big. You gave him too much power. He traded away your franchise.
He's had Watson for 4 years and got to the playoffs every year and just kind of like crumbled. So it's like, I understand that, but
as far as getting another chance, I give him another chance because before this year, he was a winning coach, and they won.
But why did he become a cancer?
Because he got too big.
So would you want that in your locker room?
You just don't give him the GM title. You give him the team. Yeah. This is the team, and we are going to build it.
It was weird that he had the head coach and GM title. That sounds like disaster every time I hear that.
It was a disaster waiting to happen. And But I agree with you with Adam Gase. I don't think Adam Gase should be a football coach.
No, I understand.
And then you have, surprisingly, you have 8 1-3 teams. So that means you have 12 teams way below 500. That doesn't seem like a lot. I wrote this stat down. Teams 500 or worse, there's 18 of them in the league. Now, if you want to look at it the other way, there's 16 teams 500 or better. In an expanded playoff, you're going to have an under 500 team in the playoffs. And
you might have 2 or 3.
Right, and I hate that. I really do. I understand you have to have a division winner in the playoffs and everything, but if you're under 500, I don't understand why you want to expand playoffs for a losing team.
Money,
yes,
money.
But it waters it down a little bit. And I mean, even 500 I could live with, but it's just one of those things. Now I know one of those 7 and 9 teams, 8 and 8 teams can make a run, and
Giants did it. Yeah,
So you're looking at that there, but out of those 4 teams that are are winless, I see 3 out of the 4 coaches getting fired before the end of the season. Gase, Quinn, and O'Brien's already gone. I think the only coach that is safe is the Giants coach. And the only reason why I think he's safe is because this is his first year. This is his first year coaching. I don't want to say hiring Garrett was wrong, but it was wrong. I don't think you hire somebody like Garrett to run your offense for a brand new coach, a coach that's never coached before.
Yeah, like I said, as a Dallas fan, you have to understand, and I know you know this, is that Garrett has a very old school style of offense, right? It's the short slants. It's what's considered a balanced offense. It's a very run based offense, right? The problem is, if you think about it, I think Dak is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. But if you think about it, the Giants are very similar to the Cowboys in a way. You have a really good perennial running back. O-line's kind of bad, but we had a tight end too. You have a couple good wide receivers. Mm-hmm. So Garrett was coming in there going, well, I played for the Giants, right, at one point. He's been a Giants fan. He's always played the Giants, gives him a chance to get back at the Cowboys. But he's kind of taken over a team that's one step worse than the Cowboys are at the time and going, I can kind of implement my offense. The problem is that Dallas offense doesn't work. We've seen it for 10 years, wasting away talent that doesn't work. And unfortunately, one of the pieces of it in Kellen Moore is still there. Again, I think COVID is the reason why he's still there. I don't think Coach McCarthy wanted to bring in a whole new style of offense this year because we didn't have time. That's why, again, I don't know if it's time, but something's got to change there. But I agree with you with the Garrett thing. I don't think the coach of the Giants should lose his job, and I can't think of his name.
I can't either. He was a coach for the Patriots.
I don't think he should lose his job. Nobody should lose their job in the first year, and I've said this in college, NFL. NFL is a little different because it's a money game. Every coach in most sports should get a 3-year minimum, especially college. And I'm not trying to go into college here, but it takes time to recover from the previous coach's recruits, and you got to bring in your people. So the Giants coach is going to need another year. Gase has had plenty enough tenure in the league. Yep. Quinn has had plenty enough tenure, and we're going to get into our picks. I think there's a chance for Quinn to redeem himself, but he still shouldn't have a job at the end of the year.
Right. Now, the NFC, I think, and I think you might disagree with me on this, I think Green Bay is head and shoulders the best team in the division right now. NFC, there's nobody better, more balanced than the Packers. The second tier is Seattle and Tampa. I think Tampa is better than Seattle because I think they're more balanced and they're figuring it out and they're getting to know each other on offense and it's becoming dangerous.
I could say the Packers are the best team in the NFC. Balanced offensively and defensively. I would put Seattle very close to punching the door with the Packers. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers too. I don't put Tampa Bay and Seattle on the same level, but they're really close. And the reason is the offense of Seattle's better. They play better. Russell Wilson right now is better than Tom Brady, but still the Buccaneers have a better defense. But if you ask me right now, Tampa Bay, Seattle are the second and third best team in the division. Packers are clearly first. I'm just saying, I think Seattle head-to-head with Tampa would beat Tampa Bay.
Think about what Tampa's doing without having 100%.
But they have a lot of weapons, though. That's the thing.
They have a lot of weapons, yes, but they're doing things with duct tape right now on that offense.
And their defense is helping them. That's another thing you have to understand.
Oh, yeah.
Their defense is helping out that offense. I mean, and then that helps. So like balanced wise, Seattle's defense isn't the best, but Seattle's defense is doing enough to allow Russell Wilson to ball out.
Yeah, but you're scoring 35 points a game and you're giving up 32.
Oh,
So it's
that's the Steelers from a couple years back.
Yeah, which in my opinion, come playoff time, that's a disaster waiting to happen. If you don't tighten it up defensively, it's a disaster waiting to happen. AFC Chiefs. Chiefs are the number one team. Chiefs are the best team in football because they have the best player in football. It's just like the Patriots for 20 years. They had the best player in football in Tom Brady. And the Chiefs have the best player in football.
And if you want, I'm not going to argue that Belichick's a better coach, but when you have two things together in a pot and you're just mixing it together like an evil witch, when you have a Andy Reid and you have a Patrick Mahomes, you have the best quarterback in the league with, let's just say, the second best coach, but we know Belichick's the best, but right now Andy Reid looks like an absolute genius.
Yes.
And you're mixing the two together, it's a recipe to destroy the whole division.
But Andy Reid doesn't get enough credit for being an unbelievable coach.
Never
Think
has.
about what he did with that Eagles squad.
Oh, I know.
Now, granted, they went to one Super Bowl, but they won the NFC. They had the best record in the NFC for many years. Him and McNabb. He is a offensive genius.
Oh, I think he's a fantastic coach.
And so
And then you have Eric Bieniemy still there.
Yes.
That offense is just nasty.
Yes.
And like you said, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady is a recipe, when he was there, obviously, is a recipe for every team to go, damn, we got to play them dudes. Right. So same thing now. Damn, we got to play Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
And I think the only coach that isn't scared of them is Belichick.
Yeah.
I think Belichick, I think he thrives on trying to come up with a way to figure it out. And think about the first three quarters where if it wasn't for horrible quarterback play, Patriots are in that game, if not winning that game.
I don't want to say that Belichick's the only other one that wouldn't get scared to play the Chiefs. I would say someone like Pete Carroll, being an experienced older coach. Anybody who's like that borderline Hall of Fame type coach that's in the league, which is only like 4. But like those couple dudes, I really, really, truly feel like wouldn't get nervous going in.
Would you trust Harbaugh?
I have this weird love-hate with the Ravens, man. I know they're the local team here, and I'm not trying to be... Everybody's like, oh, you just hate the Ravens because they're local. I don't know what it is, why I have a distrust in them. I just do. But I do like Harbaugh. I think he's a good team builder. He hasn't beaten the Chiefs yet.
No.
So, no, my answer would that be no.
Yeah.
There's only 3 coaches in the league right now, and I know the Cowboys look bad. I think McCarthy's a Hall of Fame caliber coach, too, eventually. But those 3, I said Pete Carroll, Andy Reid... I mean, sorry, not Andy Reid, but Belichick and pretty much Pete Carroll, about the only 2 I trust as my coach right now to go in and go, Patrick Mahomes, we'll just keep him on the bench.
Yep.
Most coaches will go, guys, we got to figure that dude out, man. Like, he's just bad. Like, I feel like an Anthony Lynn or the Brian Flores would be like, guys, this is a big deal. Like, you guys need to put up or shut up, where most coaches are like cracking knuckles. This is fine.
Yeah.
You know?
So the next tier has a lot more teams in it than the NFC does. I feel the NFC is 3 teams, and then you're hoping that a couple teams catch fire.
Yeah. Well, you have a lot of teams in the NFC, especially that are pretty battered up, pretty injured.
Yeah.
Most star players are gone, and that makes it tough.
Yeah. So the Bills, Steelers, Ravens, and Pats are the next tier. I put the Pats there, even though they're 500. I put the Pats there because they've had a tough schedule, and not having Cam last week hurt. Not saying they were going to win the game because Cam would have played, but it would have been a lot closer and a lot better.
You did put the Steelers. I was looking at your charts. Like, did you put the Steelers in there?
Yep.
Gotcha.
And I think it's a bunch of teams fighting for that next spot, because if you think about it, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5 out of the 7 playoff teams, and you're looking at a bunch of teams 500 or 1-3.
Remember,
fighting.
I know you didn't put them in there because of all the COVID stuff. Titans are 3-0. They're undefeated as well. Again, I know they have their BS. We're probably going to get in that to another episode because we still have to get to our picks today. But
it's funny you mention them because I have them listed as pretending to be good frauds of the league. And my frauds of the league are the Browns, the Panthers, and the Titans. They're pretending to be good. And I don't believe in them, and I don't believe in the Browns. I really don't. I think Carolina's playing above their head. I'm saying that right now, and then when we get into our picks, you guys will be like, well, you just called them a fraud. Doesn't mean that I don't think they're going to win games. I just don't think they're as good as what their record says they are.
They don't really surprisingly turn it over a lot, fumble a lot. Their offense does just enough, and their defense does literally just enough. Like, they're not making mistakes. They're just not playing well. They're just not throwing it to the other team.
Yeah.
That's what Bridgewater does. He's like, 5-yard pass? What, 4th and 1? Oh, we're going to get 1.1 yard.
Yeah.
We're not going to do anything flashy.
And they're going to stay in games that way because they're not giving the ball up. And I think everybody was like, they're losing McCaffrey. This is going to hurt. And that kid, what is his name? Davis?
Mike Davis, running back.
Yep, he's played really well, and it's sort of the question of, okay, let's just keep going. Next guy up, let's keep going. Let's keep with the game plan, and let's go. My surprises, in a good way, are the Rams and Indy. I didn't expect either one to be 3-1, and everybody knows about Indy. I don't believe in Phillip Rivers.
I think he'll do just enough to get him to the playoffs, though.
And the Rams, and that's a bad division, too. So that's a bad division. So I think, yes, they'll win that division.
Houston starting off with a terrible start doesn't help either.
No.
With the 3 worst teams. But last week, come on now. Your schedule's getting a little easier.
Yeah,
they got to figure it out. I agree with you with Indy. I think Indy's got enough to make it. The Rams surprised me, man. Over the offseason, McVay has completely changed his play style. He doesn't throw it 50-yard downfield no more as much. He's focusing on multiple running backs now.
Yep.
He's focusing on the short to intermediate passing. He's playing a little bit like the 49ers would, I would say.
A little bit,
it reminds me of that a little bit. Obviously, I think Goff is a tad bit better at the moment than Garoppolo. But again, Garoppolo's been injured. But I'm surprised by the Rams, too. They surprised me week 1 against my Cowboys. Like, that's not what the Rams are supposed to do.
Right.
And I think the Cowboys were thrown off by that, too.
Yeah.
They don't throw it that quick.
Right.
And it worked.
And then you've got the surprises that are bad. Cowboys, Vikings, Falcons, Texans, and Cardinals. I throw the Cardinals in there because first 2 weeks of the season, they were the talk of the town. They're going to be tough to beat. They're going to be this. They're going to be that. They played 2 tough games, and they really came out on top. Then you go and you play 2 mediocre teams, and you play mediocre and you lose. And a young team, a team that gets full of themselves and listens to the hype, does that. So let's see how they do coming back.
Of course.
And everything. But I have those teams, and I don't think, you could probably add a couple other teams in there, but I think the Cowboys, Vikings, Falcons, and Texans.
I'm not going to argue with any of them.
And then my only other thing I have is better than their record. It's the 49ers. They're 2-2, but they're better than their record.
Well, they're injured.
Injuries is a big part of it, and they did everything they could to give that game to the Eagles last week. And Mullins played absolutely awful. He threw a pass that you said, like, you watched the highlight, you're like, I didn't even see this play. Let me see it. Did he think he was on the Eagles? Like, I think that was your quote.
When you looked there, it was I think it was like 4th, I think it was like 2nd and 10, something like that, about 10 yards to go, and he threw a left post route. This was supposed to be a post. So the wide receiver was going to go up about 8 yards, cut to the left, kind of like an Amari Cooper type route, and he was going to stand there. The problem is as soon as he did his 5-step drop back and threw, his arm was in the throwing motion, the wide receiver was running a slant towards the safety, and there was 3 Eagles guys there, and as soon as he went like this, you could see his face, oh no. Like, just fumble it at that point.
Right.
Just fall down, take a sack, because, dude, there was not a single person in the vicinity in that area at all. Absolute atrocity.
Garoppolo doesn't make that play. So I do think once Garoppolo's healthy, I don't even mind that Mostert is hurt. Kittle coming back. Debo coming back. I think that's only going to help. The defense is handling the injuries they've had.
They've got some good backups.
Yeah,
they're a deep
really
squad.
Well.
Yeah, I think they'll be all right.
And I think they are going to be a lot better. Now, I think somebody said, I can't remember who, but you're looking at possibly all 4 of those teams making the playoffs.
You have 5 teams listed there.
No, that division, the West.
Oh, yeah.
You have Seattle, the Cardinals, 49ers, and the Rams.
They all could do it.
They won't.
No.
It won't happen, but it could happen, and that's scary.
They all have to play each other, so there's going to be a chance that they're all going to have losses. They're going to do stuff like this. So.
And to be in the NFC, though, and see that, you're like, oh, crap. Like, that's 4 out of the 7 teams. And then you have 3 other division winners. So you're done. Like, Saints, you better get your act together, And they did last week. They played an awful first 10 minutes where they were down 14-0, and then they just dominated that game, which I honestly didn't see coming. But again, the Lions did Lions things. They're just like the Browns. Sooner or later, they do dumbass things where it's just going to cost you the game. So that is like quarter of the way through the season. If you want to get into rookie of the year, I think it's Burrow right now. Offensively. Defensively, I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. I don't know a single person defensively that's made an impact or that has been healthy enough to make an impact. Chase Young played, 1 game? 1.5 games? And so I don't know defensively. You might know a rookie defensively that's really made an impact, but
I was just looking up the other day, and I can't remember the one that I saw listed. I just can't think of his name. There's so many players drafted defensively. It's you only really remember the 5 or 6 main offensive wide receivers, a couple of the tackles. Again, it's an offensive game at times, so it's hard to remember the 19 defensive players, all safeties drafted. Right. So, and most defensive players in the NFL don't have crazy rookie years in general anyways.
Right.
Usually defensive players take a couple years to develop into a superstar, especially safeties and corners. They don't do it overnight.
Right.
It's one of the hardest positions. So.
I think MVP, I think you're looking at in the NFC, it's between Rodgers and Wilson.
Yep.
I'll give the edge to Rodgers. Doing more with less. He's no interceptions, 13 touchdowns, 1,100 plus yards. Just the no interceptions, no turning it over and throwing it to guys that aren't Devontae Adams. You lost your top 2 wide receivers, and you're still throwing the ball, and you're still throwing the ball well. And so in the AFC default, I think you got to give it to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, by default, it's Patrick Mahomes.
And then coach of the year, right now, I think you either have to give it to
McDermott. Are you on the NFC or the AFC side?
All together, I would probably say the Bills.
McDermott, that's his name.
And or LaFleur. Is it LaFleur?
LaFleur.
From Green Bay.
Green Bay, yeah.
I would say those 2 are in the running. I really didn't see. I mean, Tomlin's doing a great job.
We expected that, though. That's the difference.
Yeah, but the thing is I want to see what they can do. I was really looking forward to the Tennessee game because the 3 teams that they played are the 3 worst teams in the league. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do when they play a winning team. Just like I'm a Bengals fan, I really like what I've seen from the Bengals. I think they should be 2-2 instead of 1-2-1. I mean, if you want to argue it, they could be a 3-1 if the kicker didn't blow out his leg, all of a sudden, and then was healthy the next week trying to kick a field goal.
I know. Can't blame kickers, though, believe me.
No, but I really, as a Bengals fan, I'm going to talk about the Bengals just for a second, if you don't mind. I'm really impressed with what they're doing. I know a lot of people hate the defense. A lot of people hate the coaching decision. I love their coach. I really do. I think he's got the team moving in the right direction. I think offensively, they are fine. The offensive line is figuring it out. And that is big because you're coming into a part of the schedule where you're playing the Ravens, you're playing the Steelers, you're playing tougher teams. I do see the Bengals struggling this year and not winning a lot of games, but they're going to be in a lot of games.
Yeah.
And I feel that the future is very bright for this team, and future meaning next year.
Yeah.
I see them taking that step next year. If they can get this defense figured out, next year is going to be a very interesting year for the AFC North.
Yep. I'm not going to disagree with it.
And I know later on with Nate, we're going to talk about the Cowboys. But me personally, I'm going to say this. You can't be impressed with what you're seeing. It is hot garbage. My opinion. I didn't see a single thing. The second half where they're making their comebacks are impressive because they're making the comebacks. But I don't believe in that because a lot of times you're also playing against prevent zone defenses. In the first half is where you have to look at it, and they're not very good in the first half.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll get in that to later night's episode because I can talk for about 45 minutes on that.
Yeah.
So we're about halfway. We're about an hour or so. I mean, 30 minutes in or so. We're going to go again and get into our picks a little bit. When we get to the Cowboys today, obviously, I'm going to talk a little bit about them. Okay. But I'll save most of it for the show tonight. But so let's start with the Buccaneers and Chicago tonight.
Yes.
Buccaneers 3-1, Chicago 3-1. What do you got going on?
I got the Bucs beating the Bears.
Okay.
I don't think the Bears have enough. I think the Bears that you saw last week are the Bears that you're going to see more often than not. The Bucs defense is very good. Their offense is put together, like I said earlier, with duct tape right now. A lot of injuries to the pass catchers. And I just see the Bucs winning this game. I don't see it being a blowout, but I see the Bucs taking control and winning the game.
Yeah, I have the Buccaneers too. Again, I just don't trust Chicago. If you don't really know who your quarterback is, I understand, but I think they're a bad 3-1 team. Mm-hmm. I do. That doesn't mean that, like I said, like they're garbage, right? They're not hot garbage, but they're just a bad 3-1 team. They benefited off a pretty decent schedule. Their offense is being held together, not by duct tape because of injuries, but because they might all crumble because they're playing with heart. But they're just not good, right?
Yeah.
Defense is okay. I just trust Tom Brady. I trust Buccaneers more, even though this is at Chicago. I still trust Brady.
Okay.
Next. Oh,
yeah,
I'll let you do it.
Yeah, we got Cowboys versus the Giants. I forgot the Giants were even an NFL team. This is our lock of the week.
Yeah.
The reason why this is my lock of the week is because this is the game where you have to win. The Giants have nothing to talk about at all. And I'm even going to go as far as saying that if this game is close, there is a problem in Dallas. There is a problem in Big D. If this game is close, if it's not a 20-point victory, you really have to dig deep and figure out what is wrong. If you make Daniel Jones look good, which I will say I'm eating crow right now because I said this was a breakout year for him.
And it's boiled crow. It's not even cooked. It's just boiled.
This is a game where the Cowboys have to show you we can beat really bad teams. And if they don't beat them bad, you got to figure something out.
Yeah. I have the Cowboys, obviously, as my lock of the week. This is both of our lock of the weeks. Cowboys have to rebound. I'm going to go a little bit here. I want to save a lot of it for the show we're going to do later. You cannot, in any league, in any sport, you cannot have the number 32 ranked defense and the number 1 ranked offense. You can't do that. And people go, well, where's the determining factor? The determining factor is one of them has to get worse and one of them has to get better in order to win. You cannot allow 39 points a game, right? So as of right now, in 140-something years of football, it's the worst defense in history. People are like, oh, well, this year was bad. No, this is the worst defense to ever play football. Now, I'm going to go with the Browns game real quick. Dallas came out and scored. Browns scored. Dallas scored. Browns scored. 14-14 with 5 minutes in the first. Dallas came out. Dak got sacked by Myles Garrett. When he got sacked by Myles Garrett, Dak was in the throwing motion. It wasn't going forward, so he fumbled it. Nothing against anybody who listens to this. Any quarterback fumbles, and that's a hard situation to hold onto a ball when the ball's in the air already, right? And he fumbles and loses it. Browns score. So now it's 21-14. Dallas gets back on the field. Everything's fine. Offense looks great. Then we're going out there, and then we stall about the 50-yard line, have a first down, then a 3-and-out. People are like, well, that's when they should have capitalized. Teams have to expect you're going to have 3-and-outs. You're going to have random fumbles. You're going to have things. So then we punt. Boom, Browns score immediately. 28-14. No team should be in that situation when their defense doesn't help at all. I'm not putting it all on Dak shoulders. I'm not saying he looks fantastic because of his numbers. I know his numbers are inflated. I know they're ballooned. But the fact is, when your defense allows a score on 91% of its times on the field, what can the offense do?
Yes.
It's not fair that Dallas looks like this. No offense. It's not fair to Dak. People are like, man, Dak looks good. No, he doesn't. He shouldn't have to play like this.
Right.
This isn't his style. He doesn't throw like this. We should be able to run, pass, pass. Comfortable offense. But the Coach looks scared because when he's like, hey guys, what are we going to do? And Dak looks up and is like, oh, it's not even halftime. We're down by 40. How do you play? How do you do that?
Right.
Like, I feel bad for the DC team. I feel bad for the Giants team. I feel bad for the Eagles. These teams that are always losing, like we are, like, what do you do? When Haskins goes out and goes, well, good luck, Haskins. You're down by 40. Like, how do you play? How does Dak do this? So my only concern is I think what you said, I'm going to agree with everything you said. This is where they got to show up. You need to stop the Giants. You have an easy schedule coming up. Don't let that distract you, the fact that the Cowboys are bad. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's defensive Mike Nolan. I really don't think it's offensively. People are like, well, you have to score every time. We shouldn't have to score every time we're on offense. Mm-hmm. You're going to fumble. You're going to have interceptions. You're going to have bullshit plays. Defense has to figure it out. A little better, I don't care. 4 or 5 places better. You can't play blast. You can't do that.
Right.
So, next game.
All right. You're a little fired up there. I let you go a little bit.
Screw the Cowboys right now. But I'm picking them to my lock of the week.
Panthers, Falcons.
Yep.
Very interesting game. I went this game and the Texans versus the Jaguars game were my 2 that I left blank until literally I asked you this morning to text me your picks, and I still hadn't picked this game. I still hadn't picked the Texans game, and I picked them later. I picked the Panthers.
Okay.
They're consistent. They're not consistently good. They're not consistently bad. But as we said earlier they're not making mistakes. And I do not believe the Falcons are healthy enough to win this game. And I don't think they're good enough defensively to win this game. I think Davis is going to run the ball. They're going to do what they do best. Run, play action, try to stop us. So I've got the Panthers winning this game. And the Panthers going to a 3-2 record. I don't believe it's a very good 3-2, but they're going to be 3-2 after this game.
So with me, I picked the Falcons, but I have 2 different opinions here. I have what I think is going to happen and what I want to happen. Right. So for the podcast's sake, I'm picking what I think will happen.
Okay.
Right? What I think will happen is I think the Falcons are going to win. They're not going to go 0-5. They're at home. Panthers are bad. They're a bad 2-2 team, but they're doing enough to win. They're consistent. They still have Matt Ryan, better quarterback than Bridgewater, better running back right now, better wide receivers. Just everything about the Falcons are better except for their defense. This could be a 30-30 game, really big blowout, but I get the Falcons winning for some odd reason. I feel like they're going to. What I would like to see happen is the Falcons lose and Dan Quinn's the second coach to get fired, because I feel like there's already trade rumors of Julio. There's trade rumors of Matt Ryan. Both of them are going to have Hall of Fame careers wherever else they go. They're being wasted there for that reason. Yep. Again, same thing with the other team. I know he's injured, but Christian McCaffrey, you need to go to another team, bud. You need to go to another team.
I don't know. I'm watching the way this coach coaches, and the
Matt
way
Rule?
and the way they drafted. They knew where they were the weakest, and they knew where they needed to get better, and they drafted defensively.
Yeah.
Offensively, I think they've realized, hey, listen, we're okay.
Yeah.
We're not great, but
I still
we're
don't think
okay.
Bridgewater's their future, though.
No, neither do I. But I think what they did was smart, and I think this guy is doing an excellent job coaching.
Matt Rule's a good coach, and I know me and the guys always argue about this, about like college divisional stuff. Big 12 makes good coaches. They have for a long time. I can name a couple, like, I know they're going to get mad at this, but I can name a couple SEC coaches that flopped in the NFL.
Yeah.
But the Big 12 offensively, they make great offensive coaches. They always have, like Cliff Kingsbury and now Matt Rule. These coaches do very well.
Yeah.
So I actually like the direction the Panthers going, but my gut says the Falcons are going to pull this out. They're not going to go 1-4 unless Julio, Matt Ryan hear about the trade rumors and they sit.
Well, Julio's not playing.
Oh, he isn't playing. Okay.
Julio, I believe, is out.
They still got Calvin Ridley, who's a top 10 wide receiver right now.
Yep. But that, we disagree on that one. Not really, but I just think you were picking the Falcons because you believe they're going to go 1-4 instead of 0-5.
Yes, that's why. I want to start the next game real quick. I know you usually do.
Okay.
We have the Bills 4-0 at the Titans 3-0. I have COVID written next to it with question mark because we don't know anything about this game. I know you didn't write it on yours. I will still talk about it, but obviously we don't know with almost 30 players testing positive now from the Titans. They can't reschedule next week.
No, they can't reschedule.
Because the Bills have a Thursday game.
Right.
So, like I said, I'm not trying to get too much into if I had my opinion. I think the Bills should get a win here, and Titans should have to forfeit this game.
Yes.
That's the way I think the NFL should go with this if your team gets a lot of cases of it.
You can reschedule one game
Yeah.
If you're a team, you can reschedule one game because you can get rid of your bye week and you can move something here or there.
Now you're going to start getting losses.
Right. And I feel, and you've said this a couple times in our group chat. I know we mentioned this group chat a lot, but you have to understand there's at least 300 messages a day in this group chat. We are a little ridiculous. Our wives think we're ridiculous. But you said if anybody comes up positive, the team should forfeit the game because of negligence.
Not anybody. Not anybody. Not just one person should forfeit the game. I'm saying is if one person gets COVID, everybody in a way is held accountable. Meaning, if it spreads to 30 people now,
yes,
somebody brought it in, and then 28 other people are somehow passing it along, knowing you're all in a bubble in a way. You're at home practice. Who's going out?
So
Who's going out?
You're not saying the Patriots because Cam was asymptomatic and tested positive, but nobody else was. You're not saying anything, then Gilmore tested, but no Chief player has tested positive, and no other Patriot player has tested positive as of right now.
As of right now, I haven't gotten on the Patriots yet, but my point is when the Titans have almost 30 cases now.
Right,
now's
and
the point.
Proven that they went to a local high school to practice.
That's what's pissing me off now.
I feel the Titans have to be, if this game can't be played, they have to forfeit.
What I mean by this, and we mentioned this in the group chat, and I could go on with it forever, I have nothing against the COVID virus. I respect it. I understand it. But we were arguing about the word negligence.
Yes.
And when they argued with me in our friend group about the word negligence, we didn't know about the secret practice they had.
Right.
This is negligence, guys.
Yes.
Everybody who's listening, this is negligence.
And we all agree with you in that. And
this is what you can't do. I had
yes.
an opinion when this came out, and they have almost 30 players now. This doesn't just come from one dude coughing, hey, buddy, let's throw a touchdown. No, somebody was negligent and brought this. Now we know it was half the team. But usually it's one dude saying, hey, man, cover for me. I'm going to go out to this club. I'm going to go get this wings at this place in Miami. You can't do that.
Right.
No other team has it.
And I agree with you. Now, if this game is played, I have the Bills winning.
I do too.
I feel the Bills are better. I think, like I've said, Allen is the real
Bills
deal.
Bills are a great team.
And I just feel either way, I feel that you can't reschedule it. You can't. Nope. You can't extend the season. You can't do any of that. It's not fair. And I feel, especially since it is negligence and it's 30 players, you know what? You expanded the rosters to 70 players. You could still technically play the game if those 40 extra players are not testing positive. But it's sort of like, I get it. You don't want to do that. You
expanded the rosters. You get one of two options. If you have, okay, so we're going to get to a point in week 12 when there's going to be no more bye weeks, right?
Yep.
If we're in the middle of bye weeks, week 4 to week 12 is when all the bye weeks are played, and you have to reschedule a game because of COVID, and you lose your bye week. That's your one time to reschedule. Yes. If you're into a second game now that Titans are, you get two options, Titans. You bench your entire lineup for a week and quarantine your whole starting lineup. You find your 30 practice squad dudes, and you funnel together some little Giants team.
Yep.
Okay, do your best with your 19-year-old kids, or you just say, you know what? I'm just going to forfeit this week. We'll take our L, get all of our players to have 10 days off recovery. Everybody stay home. We'll be ready for the sixth week of the season.
Yep.
Titans, you already rescheduled once. You don't get a second chance.
No.
You lose this game.
Yes.
So what we got next, Mark?
We got Chiefs-Raiders.
Okay.
Chiefs.
Okay.
I am not going to pick against the Chiefs all season. I have said it here now. It is official. Every game the Chiefs play, I am picking them to win because they're not going to get beat. Yep. There is not a team out there that is more talented than them. There is not a team out there that I think can hang with them when the Chiefs figure it out. And in the fourth quarter of this past week against the down Patriots team, they figured it out. I think even if Cam played, the Chiefs would have figured it out and would have won the game.
Yep.
The Raiders, I still think, are a playoff team.
Yeah. They
just hit a rough patch where they've played 3 of the top teams in the AFC. And I think you're not one of those teams.
Yeah.
And so they're going to go 2-3. I think they're going to rebound sooner or later, but I've got the Chiefs winning this game.
Just like Mark said, I promised everybody who listens, I won't pick against the Chiefs this year. And every time the Chiefs play and we do our picks, I won't say anything about them. I don't have to. And every time we have a guest, I'm like, what do you think about the Chiefs? The Chiefs. I don't have to add anything else. Yep. I'm not going to say why. I'm not going to say where. The Chiefs are going to beat the Raiders, and I do like the Raiders. I'm on their bandwagon. I watched the Raiders game last week. Just something about quarterback play. There's more I got to see from the Raiders, but overall, I think the Raiders are good. I think they have enough to be 8-8, 7-9, 9-7.
Are you still on the train? Or is one leg off?
Well, not one leg off, but it's almost like it's like an old Western movie. Like I fell off the train, but my horse is riding alongside it.
Okay.
I'm trying to catch back up to it, but damn it, Raiders, if you want me, I need you to be consistent. All right. So what have we got next?
All right, we've got Cardinals versus Jets.
Okay.
2 weeks in a row, the Cardinals have been very disappointing. Kyler Murray has been very disappointing. The offense has been one-dimensional. I think the offense has to get back to being all around just run, pass. Like you have to be 50-50 in this offense. You jumped on the Kyler Murray bandwagon and you said, yeah, we can win with him and only him, and you forgot about Kenyon Drake, you forgot about Edmonds, and I feel that it is going to be the downfall of this team if it continues. But the lucky thing for the Cardinals right now is you're playing the Jets. And if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. The Jets are bad.
Yeah.
And they're even worse now because their best player isn't playing in Darnold.
Yeah.
And you've got Joe Flacco, who I don't even know how he's still in the league.
Joe Flacco might surprise people. He might.
Nah.
Remember, I was one of the people, we didn't have our podcast yet, but I was one of the people when we used to work together and Lamar Jackson was drafted, I was one of the people who said they should have stuck with Joe Flacco.
Yes.
I like that style of quarterback. It's nothing against, obviously him himself. I just like pocket passing with a little bit of running. He's not a little bit of running, but I think he's smarter than Lamar Jackson is at times because he's a more experienced quarterback.
So you got the Jets?
I do not. Just like you said last week. Oh, not last week. The way our list is, we do it by the time, Thursday to Sunday, right? 1 o'clock one. So right before this, we had the Chiefs, and I said, Chiefs are winning. I got nothing else to say. The Jets are losing. I have nothing more to say. They're like, well, what do you think about the Cardinals? They're going to win. I don't have to say anything about Kyler Murray. They're better. Okay. They're going to win. I'm not going to go into detail because the Jets are trash.
All right.
Literal trash.
Eagles versus the Steelers. Battle of Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Eagles. See, here's the thing with the Eagles is they have heart because Carson Wentz has heart.
They're scrappy.
And yes, that's a very good word for it also. But the Steelers are, I think Steelers are top to bottom better. I think a hurt 49ers team and a backup quarterback that played like he was blind really helped the Eagles out. And I think the Steelers win this game. I think the Steelers are pissed off that they had to have a bye week in week 4 instead of week 7 or 8. And I think the Steelers come out and really dominate this game.
Yeah, same thing here. I got the Steelers. Again, it seems to be a pattern. Again, I always do this with the NFC East, but they just keep playing better teams. Steelers are a better team than the Eagles. Eagles are beat up, and again, I'm one of the few people, I know I always say this, but I really do blame a lot on injuries, man. I'm a big injury guy. Injuries hurt. Yep. Eagles are hurt very bad. Wide receiver, line, everything. That Steelers D-line is going to eat. Carson Wentz better be careful.
Yes.
And anytime he sees somebody coming at him, one of the Watt brothers or the other guy they have, Dupree, is that another one they have?
Yeah, I don't.
I can't name them all. They have so many people.
Yeah.
Dude, if you see one of them, just fall. Please don't take a hit because as much as I give Carson Wentz hell, I think he's a good quarterback. And I'm afraid this team is wasting it.
Yep.
I am. I got the Steelers winning. I got the Steelers winning by 2 touchdowns, in my opinion.
Rams versus the Washington football team. Washington, we're going to talk about later with Nate. Nate is all fired up for this.
Yeah, it'll be mostly Washington talk for anybody who's interested in that.
Yeah, but changing the quarterback isn't going to change the fact that you're not very good. And the Rams played awful last week against the Giants and still won. They will win this game. I don't think Kyle Allen is the answer. I believe they're going with Kyle Allen because Alex Smith still isn't ready, is what they're saying. But he's now their backup, so he's pretty close. And I think the Rams are far better. I think that Terry McLaurin and Gibson are 2 pieces that you can hang your hat on, and that defense is very good.
I like that tight end Logan Thomas. I like him too.
Yeah,
but those two mainly.
But those pieces are good. The defense is just getting tired, and they're losing.
They're on the field too much.
Yes, so the defense is very good, but I just feel that they are not going to be able to stay. They're not going to have the stats they should because they're on the field too much. Yep. So I've got the Rams easily in this game.
I have the Rams as well. Like you said a perfect point. Replacing the quarterback doesn't change a damn thing. Personally for me, the offense is bad. There's talented people and talented pieces, but I think there's some sort of scrappiness heart that's just not there yet maybe with the team.
Okay.
I will say it now, and I'll say it again tonight in our DC talk. I think benching Haskins was the wrong idea. That's just me. Okay. I understand why, because the division's bad. So if you want to take the chance at the Dallas Cowboys playing like horse shit, and you want to take your chance...
Wow, you are dropping the bombs today.
Sorry, man. If you want to take the chance to win this division, now's your chance. Everyone's beat up, and Dallas is trying to figure out what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. But they're not exactly beat up. Rams are better. I think if you want Haskins to be your dude, you keep him in, and even if you go 1-15, you let him learn from this season. Let him get beat up a little bit behind that line. Let him get hit. Let him play. If you want him to be your dude, this proves to me one thing. They don't think he's the guy by benching him. But we'll talk more about that tonight. I got the Rams winning, and I got the Rams winning decisively.
And I will say this, flat out, I totally disagree with that take.
That's fine.
And I'll explain why later.
That's fine.
But I disagree with that take. But the next game is Ravens-Bengals. I really, really like what I saw last week from the Bengals.
Can't pick the Bengals ever again this year, though.
No, they won. I can still pick them.
They did win last week. I forgot.
So,
damn.
Right. So, Ravens are a better team.
Yeah.
I want to see what they do. This is the first time where I'm interested. And being in this area, we're force fed the Ravens. So we have to watch them on TV. We have to watch the Washington football team on TV every week. It's awful. Yeah. It's stomach turning. But this is a game that I'm going to pay attention to, even if it's a blowout, because like you said earlier, I want to see how they perform. I want to see how the Bengals perform. I want to see if they quit, or I want to see if they keep fighting. And I see this game not being a blowout, but not being close, if that makes any sort of sense at all.
It does.
I see the Bengals maybe scoring a garbage time TD to make it a 10-point, 11-point game. Yeah. I don't see them losing by 20, 30 points. Yeah. But I've got the Ravens winning this game. Yeah. I think the Ravens are a better team.
I have the Ravens winning as well. You made a good point I want to add, too, because I know the guys will be listening to this. When I always bring up stats a lot, right? Like stats mean a lot of things. To me, the most important thing is the word mechanics and the way people play on the field. And I've been doing this a lot more this season mainly than any other. I've always been like, well, this stat and this stat and this touchdown, passer rating, whatever. I look at mechanics. So now I'm watching when teams lose, how do you play? So I'm watching throwing angle. I'm watching feet. Are you getting your feet set? Are you always unbalanced? So even if the Bengals lose this game, and same thing with Dallas and the same thing with other teams, I think that I just forgot his name. Burrow, thank you. I'm looking right at him.
Oh, you're actually looking at me.
At you. Well, I was actually looking down. But the mechanics. How are your feet? Do you have what it looks like? Because even if you're not putting up the numbers, are you prototypically ready to play? Mm-hmm. And I see that out of Burrow. I think he's ready. I think he's comfortable. I think in the pocket he looks good. He doesn't look uncomfortable at any time. So I want to watch his feet. I want to watch his arm. Even if he has 250 yards, do you not have any interceptions? No fumbles? Right. Even if you don't score any touchdowns, like, did you look decent? Yeah. That tells me that no matter what, I think you're on the right track. And I do think he is.
Yeah.
By the way, I have the Ravens. I don't know if I said that.
Yeah, you did. Okay. Texans-Jaguars. This is my upset of the week. And I didn't pick the Jaguars. Jaguars are favored in this game. And even if they weren't, the Texans don't have in the win, and the Jaguars do. So I've been picking my upsets off of record this year.
And I've been doing mine over who's favored.
Okay. And so I've got the Texans this week. Sort of, it's who they're playing, and it's also what I said a couple weeks ago when I had a horrible week picking, and also what you said about the Falcons earlier. If not now, when?
And you don't see the Texans going 0-5 versus the Jaguars going 2-3.
Right. And so I've got the Texans winning this game. I think the fact that Bill O'Brien is gone is a weight lifted off of the whole team.
Who's the interim? Do you know?
It's Romeo Crennel.
Okay, cool.
Which has coaching experience.
Yeah.
But also he also knows, listen, I am trying for next year because this isn't my job.
Yeah.
And they don't want me to have this job. But if I can get them to play, then possibly I can get a head coaching position and or go somewhere else and be a defensive coordinator somewhere else.
Makes sense.
The rumor is that J.J. Watt got into a huge fight with Bill O'Brien, and the team chose Watt over O'Brien.
I don't
Bill O'Brien was trying to trade J.J. Watt. He was taking phone calls, and supposedly it all blew up in O'Brien's face.
Is O'Brien playing like it's Madden rebuild? You just trying to trade everybody away and get as many assets as possible? Because now they don't have any assets.
No, they don't have any assets. They don't have any draft picks. They don't have anything.
Does he have something against Houston? Took the job just to make him worse?
I don't know. Like I said,
it's weird.
He did well until they gave him the GM position too. And then they just fell apart. And he did well in the regular season. They didn't do well in the playoffs. But I think the Texans are a better team than the Jaguars. The Jaguars are playing well, but I don't think they beat the Texans this week.
I got the Texans as well. I have them beating the Jaguars. I don't see them going 0-5. Also, one thing I did want to add, because I'm not going to spend forever on this, is when you have, especially with the Cowboys, like with Jerry Jones, you have CEO, owner, president, GM, blah, blah, blah. It's a disaster. You need to delegate people to help. That's why I like the last couple of years with my Cowboys that his son's been helping. Mm-hmm. His other son's been helping. People have been starting to delegate work, and you've seen it getting a little better. You cannot have the person in charge of all the players also in charge of signing all the players with money. Right. It's a bad mixture. I think Bill O'Brien would be fine if he stayed as a coach, but not as the GM, and I just think getting rid of him completely, he's burnt too many bridges. You're done. Texans will be fine. I think they'll win this game decisively. Yep.
Next game is the 49ers and the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. I believe Garoppolo is back. I know Kittle is back. I know, obviously, and I know Deebo Samuel is back. And the Dolphins are in this position where I don't know what they're doing. Meaning, you're playing Fitzpatrick because right now you say he's the better option. But then yet you contradict yourself saying Tua has been making plays and doing throws that no other quarterback you've ever seen in the league make. And he's been practicing well. You're not winning the division. You're not going anywhere. You're not going to the playoffs. Sooner or later, you have to put this kid in to see what you have. And I know that's a contradictory to what I said last week or 2 weeks ago when they played Thursday night and they beat the Jaguars. But now the media is starting to talk to you about it. Now it's becoming a distraction. And Fitzpatrick has come out and said, I know I'm not the starter for this team. So you've got to decide. I do like the Dolphins team. I think they're going in the right direction, but I just think the 49ers are better. And if Mullins doesn't play, if Mullins plays, I could see the Dolphins winning this game. Yeah. Plain and simple. But I think Garoppolo's back, and I think the 49ers win this game.
Yeah, I have the 49ers as well. Even with all the injuries, I think they're just better overall than the Dolphins. Again, I agree with you. When is it to a time? Are they not playing him because they don't think the team's decent enough? They don't want him to go out and look like a rookie. Maybe they want to be like, hey, we'll wait the whole year, get a good draft pick, bring in some more free agents, buff up the line, get another wide receiver. I don't know, like maybe Dallas doesn't re-sign a Gallup or a type play like that, and they get another wide receiver in there. Sure, that could work. Let's say that's what they do. I look at it, you want to know what you got. Yeah, Tua's making great throws in practice, but what's he got on the field? Yeah. Let him play against not practice squad people. I want to see what he's got. I think we all do. Yeah. And the Bills and Patriots are probably going to be the two teams to make a playoff run. Bills, I guarantee you make the playoffs and win the division, but the Patriots have a chance to go to the postseason as a wild card. You do not as the Dolphins. No, you have no chance. So why not just see it? You're about to be 1-4 after this week. Yep. It's time to get somebody else in there. I got the 49ers winning. Yep. Even with all the injuries, they got Garoppolo back. I believe he's back when I was reading that today. We'll be fine.
Next game I wrote down is Browns versus the Colts. Two surprising 3-1 teams. I'm surprised. A lot of experts and a lot of people that talk are not surprised that both teams are 3-1. Everybody saw a lot of potential with the Browns, and everybody saw a lot of potential with the Colts, especially signing Phillip Rivers. I think the Colts are held together by their defense. And I think the one downfall the Browns are going to have is playing a good defense. I believe in the running game, and I believe that Frank Reich has got Phillip Rivers believing, do not throw the ball because you just feel like you have to. Throw it away, dink it to somebody. You don't have the arm to get it into those little penny slots that he used to. The Browns lost a huge piece to their team in Nick Chubb. Having that two-headed monster really gave you a ton of options. And to make up for it against the Cowboys after they lost Chubb, they ran it with Odell. They ran it here. They ran it there. They ran it with Hunt. The Colts are better than the Cowboys defensively.
Way better.
The Colts are probably the best team that the Browns will have faced right now. I believe they played the Ravens and they lost. But I also think that you have an interesting game here where I do believe the Colts win. I think this is my first time picking the Colts to win. But I see the Colts being enough defensively to stop the Browns.
I'm not going to lie to you. It's not because of what you just said, and I said that before. I put my W in the wrong place.
Okay.
I did. I was supposed to pick the Colts over the Browns, and the reason was, I don't know if it's because of the way I wrote it. Maybe I wrote it backwards. I'm not sure. I don't have the Browns winning this because I don't trust them to do it 2 games in a row. That's just me. It is. I definitely picked the Colts to win this game. It's nothing against the Browns. They played better than the Cowboys. Obviously, I'm not going to say they didn't. We have a bad defense, and they looked. People are like, man, the Browns are back. Dude, that defense is bad though. Mm-hmm. Like, don't get me wrong. They did look really good, but they looked stellar. They looked Chiefs-like against our defense, which again, the Giants might this week too. It's hard to tell. I need to see the Browns do it 2 games now. I want to see you do it again. Now you're playing a real defense, and I think the Colts are just a little better. I think it'll be close. Losing Chubb's going to hurt. I just see the Colts doing just enough.
Now, I do have to say is when people forget before he decided to kick his girlfriend in the face, Kareem Hunt was a number 1 running back in the league. He wasn't just a third down back.
Oh, no.
He was a lead running back.
Sorry, I thought you said he was the number 1 back. No. He is a number 1 caliber back, like a Dak, a Zeke.
So losing Chubb hurts,
Zeke,
but it's not like you're downgrading a bunch and making it, say, a third down back, like the Bengals going with Giovanni Bernard instead of Mixon. You're not taking that big of a drop. No. So the Browns, it's not like, but having that 2-headed monster where you can run the ball 30 times a game is important, and they don't have that now. So I want to see what they do.
Okay.
We've got next is the Patriots versus the Broncos. I saw enough out of the Patriots in the loss to the Chiefs to realize they are good, and they are going to beat the Broncos. The Broncos are not healthy. The Broncos did everything they could Thursday night to give the Jets their first win of the game, and the Jets didn't take advantage of it. If you do the same thing with the Patriots will blow you out. I have the Patriots winning this game, and I don't think, even without Cam, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's close.
Now, I don't know if Cam's playing this weekend.
I don't know if he is either.
So with or without Cam, I have the Patriots winning. With Cam, it's more, obviously. Broncos are injured. Their defense is a little bit better than advertised, I believe. But the offense is bad with Rippon or whoever else they decided to put in. I don't see any reason at home with the Patriots at home. I don't see any reason the Broncos win this game. I got the Patriots winning with or without Cam Newton.
All right. Then we got Seattle versus the Vikings. Seattle is good offensively. They're bad defensively. The Vikings are bad defensively and not very good offensively. They're not consistent offensively. And I said it again last week where Kirk Cousins isn't the right quarterback for this job. The way they want to play is not the type of quarterback Kirk Cousins is. Dalvin Cook is arguably making a case to be MVP of the league. He is putting up numbers. He is putting up big numbers every week, but it's not enough. And
then when Kirk has to throw the ball, it's not enough because of how good Dalvin Cook is. He needs to be a little bit better on the passing side because it just makes him look bad.
Yes, and so the Seahawks win this game because they're the better team. If the Seahawks can figure it out defensively, this is a dangerous team. Very dangerous. But I got the Seahawks beating the Vikings.
I got Seattle over the Vikings. Vikings secondary's bad. They're going to allow a lot of points. Seattle throws the ball a lot, and I don't think the Vikings have enough offensively to go up against Seattle's lackluster defense. Even if they do, Seattle's going to play like the Chiefs a little bit. They're just going to you need to keep Russell on the bench.
Yeah.
And if you don't, that's the only way Vikings are going to lose is if they keep him on the bench.
You got to keep him on the bench, and you got to score touchdowns every time you have the ball.
Exactly.
So they have the right person in Dalvin Cook to do that. But can you score every time?
That's
touchdowns, not just field goals.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Monday night game, I didn't think we were going to disagree on this one, but we do. This is your upset of the week. And this is the first time I've picked the Saints. I saw enough in that win last week to know that they are dangerous.
Yeah.
Now, it was against a Lions team that is mediocre. But against a Raiders team that's mediocre, the Saints lost. And I don't see enough from the Chargers. I know you are a Herbert. You ride him like a horse. and that sounded wrong, but you bang that drum.
Yep, I'm on his bandwagon.
I'm
on Burrow's bandwagon too, by the way.
Yeah,
but I'm definitely on Herbert's bandwagon
Yep.
because I like what he's done this year so far. And a lot of the people who are like, man, he's bad, he's this, he's bad, are eating a little bit of crow, maybe like half the crow, not the whole thing yet. He's playing better than anybody expected him to. But you're like, well, he's Pac-12, he's Pac-12. Like, I don't care. He's playing well enough to win games.
And I'll say he's playing well. I'm not going to say he's not playing well. What I'm saying is the Saints are better.
Yeah.
And Herbert made a mistake last week. They said he went toe-to-toe with Brady, blah, 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 blah. The one thing a rookie has to understand is when to check down and when not to make that throw. And he made a horrible throw at the wrong time in crunch time this past week. And he made an unbelievable throw to somebody that nobody even knew he was a wide receiver in the league, in Guyton.
Yeah.
And, it was a great pass. But then you come and you have the worst pass of the game the next drive. And against the Bucs, when Tom Brady was cooking, you can't make that mistake. And so I think that's why the Saints win this game. I think the Saints, with Michael Thomas possibly being back, I don't think he has to be back. I think they've figured out how to play without him, and they're only going to get better with him. And the Chargers defensively are just too hurt to make it so they win this game. So I got the Saints winning.
I picked the Chargers just because when I looked up and down my list, most of the games are clearly one team against another, like a good team versus a bad team, right?
Yep.
And all the bad teams, I didn't see the Panthers beating the Falcons, right? I didn't see the Raiders beating the Chiefs. I didn't see the Eagles beating the Steelers. So I was like, where am I going to find my upset of the week? And it was kind of hard this week for me personally, but the Saints are a 13-point favorite as of right now.
Okay.
And they're at home, I understand. I am picking the Chargers to win the game, but I am also picking the Chargers to, whether they lose or not, I think they'll beat the 13-point spread. I think it's going to be closer. Chargers defense is decent. It's decent enough to stop, and it's very good against the running backs right now. It's doing good against pass-catching running backs, not running backs, but anybody short. So stopping the tight end, stopping the short pass, and stopping the short running back pass, Chargers have been good at. They've been bad at the deep pass. So what have we said all year? Bree's deep pass hasn't been there.
Yep.
So the Chargers play close to the line, which I think is going to make the Saints a little bit harder here. For some reason, I woke up this morning. This was the only game I didn't pick yet. Not pick, but my upset of the week. And I was like, you know what? Herbert, I'll give you one more week. I'm leading Marc by like 8 wins right now, kicking his butt on the board over there. So guess what? This is one I lose. I'm terrible on my upset of the weeks anyways. I got the Chargers winning, field goal. I got it being a close game. And I think the Saints are going to be like, what in the hell just happened?
All right.
That's just me.
All right. Well, those are all the games this week. We are going to come back later on tonight.
Yep.
We are going to talk about the sport that you only go left in. That's NASCAR with Logan.
Well, it's not just go left. They have six tracks with other turns. They're called road courses.
Oh, okay.
They do other tracks, Marc.
I mean, they
it
do.
It must have been a while since you watched.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to talk NASCAR. I'll ask a couple questions that they've come up with. And then we're going to talk with Nate about the NFC East. We're going to talk mainly about the Cowboys and the Redskins. And I will say most likely more about the the Washington
DC
football team.
That's what it's mainly based about. Yep.
We will about anything else because we want to talk about this quarterback change. We want to talk about the direction of the team. And we also want to talk about the Cowboys. I've got a couple interesting takes on the Cowboys that I want to get out in the airways. So when it becomes true, I don't want to sound like I just followed what everybody else said. So other than that, for the picks and for our quarter of the way through, I got nothing else.
That's about all I got too. So be on the lookout for this episode. We'll have 2 more coming. We have a little NASCAR episode for you guys, and we'll also have, like I said, the Nate episode with DC Cowboys. Might even get a little Bengals in there. A little short episode, but just some general rambling. We want to get into it outside of the picks. So we're going to do this special episode to ramble about how these 2 NFC East teams have been, and we'll throw your Bengals in there too. But other than that, guys, go ahead, Marc.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, guys.